Epidemiology staff. These individuals appear to have had separate exposures to the novel coronavirus. Both of these individuals have been in precautionary quarantine by the Department of Health. As of this date, neither individual has required hospitalization. Each will continue to recover at home under mandatory isolation.
Now that's Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell, who says the county's public health staff have begun an investigation to identify close contacts of individuals and alert them to their potential exposure to COVID-19. And they will be placed under a mandatory quarantine to monitor for symptoms. Christine Schuyler, she's Chautauqua County's Director of Health and Human Services, says the positive cases were not a surprise.
We continue to have a shortage, statewide, nationwide, on testing supplies for COVID-19, as well as personal protective equipment. If anything, finally, having lab-confirmed positive cases of COVID-19 means that Chautauqua County will go up higher on the list of counties prioritized to receive supplies from the federal and state government.
Now, Schuyler expects to see more positive cases as more potential people become tested. She says that test results take about 3 to 5 days to come in from the time a person is tested, and it's up to your doctor if you meet the criteria to be tested. Meanwhile, officials are continuing the call for residents to stay home amid the outbreak. Health officials in Chautauqua County continue to stress the importance of social distancing amid the novel coronavirus outbreak, even though some are not doing their part. Chautauqua County Public Health Director Christine Schuyler stressed since the pandemic started that cases of COVID-19 were in the area, even though testing results were pending. On Monday, tests confirmed that 2 people have contracted the virus so far. Officials expect that number to increase.
We are now at the beginning of what we've called the wave we've been waiting to come in. We're in that bell curve. The cases are going to start to go up. It's all of our jobs, not meaning health officials, government officials, every single person in this community, it's your job to help keep this illness from spreading.
Even though officials like Schuyler have encouraged residents to stay home and practice responsible social distancing, some in the community ignored the call by meeting in large groups over the weekend.
I have a lot of respect for our faith leaders. I'm hopeful that they in particular can help to spread the message that this is now not the time to gather. And even though you may feel personally that the Lord is going to take care of you, and if you get it, you get it, if you don't, you don't, that's really not some dice that you want to roll, because we personally impact everyone else around us.
Schuyler says that when in public, like grocery shopping, residents should be assertive and maintain a 6-foot space between themselves and others. Furthermore, officials dismissed rumors that residents of New York City who have second homes in the county at places like the Chautauqua Institution are moving in.
One of the questions we had was, there was a lot of traffic in and out of the institution this past weekend, and after talking with President Michael Hill, many and most of that traffic were county residents coming into the grounds of Chautauqua Institution to walk and get a little bit of exercise.
That's Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell, who says the institution has taken measures to screen residents returning, but at this point, many are abiding by the suggestions to stay home. So far, there is no medical treatment for COVID-19, the novel coronavirus. Now, the president of the institution released a statement saying in part they're now tracking who comes and goes from the grounds, and most of that traffic from residents over the weekend were locals enjoying the nice weather. Well, in response to a shortage of products to respond to the COVID-19 crisis in New York State, Chautauqua County officials are now encouraging local manufacturers to lend a hand. Specifically, the Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency is encouraging local healthcare professionals, schools, or public health or medical providers and manufacturers of personal protective equipment products to come forward and support the state's response. The CCIDA says the state will provide funding to companies and individuals who can provide the appropriate products, equipment, and personnel needed to address the epidemic. Now, companies that fulfill these requirements, as well as qualified healthcare personnel who wish to help in the cause, are encouraged to visit a newly set up webpage with more information, and we have a link to that page at WNYNewsNow.com. Now, just 15 minutes ago, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo announced that the state will be trying to help local businesses across the state adapt to the changes. So if they wanted to lend a hand by changing what they're manufacturing, the state says they're going to work to try to help them either monetarily or by giving them resources. Well, President Trump has signaled that he wants to scale back social distancing guidelines after the initial 15-day period that we're in now. Now, he says due to the impact it's having on the economy. But the issue isn't entirely within his control. Governors and state and local officials have the authority over restrictions within their jurisdictions, and several states are now sticking with stay-at-home orders in response to this pandemic. Bryn Gingras reports for us. And we do have that SOT. I'm sorry. Bryn, go ahead.
New York City's now the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic, with more than 13,000 cases identified here.
No one wants that distinction, not a single one of us, but it is true. And that's why we so desperately need help, particularly from our federal government, to get through it.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force revealing the virus has an attack rate of close to 1 in 1,000 in the New York metro area, and 28% of those tested are positive.
This is the group that needs to absolutely social distance and self-isolate at this time.
Despite the climbing numbers in New York, President Trump still suggesting he's eager to end the virtual nationwide shutdown as soon as next week, contradicting his own health experts.
Our country wasn't built to be shut down. This is not a country that was built for this. America will again and soon be open for business, very soon.
Encountering many officials leading in states battling exponentially rising cases.
We believe that social distancing, that's how you keep the pressure off the healthcare system.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo visited this convention center in Midtown Manhattan, where the National Guard is quickly working to transform it into a makeshift hospital with 1,000 beds.
We can scramble and create beds. We'll have a staff problem because staff are getting sick.
Even with the federal government stepping in to supply some crucial medical equipment like masks and gloves, officials say that's just a temporary solution.
Our national stockpile allotment covered one shift at a hospital.
Across the country, businesses continue to close, and even parks and playgrounds are shuttered temporarily, all efforts to help flatten the curve.
I think it's necessary. I think an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Over 142 million Americans in at least 16 states will be under stay-at-home orders by Wednesday.
So it's time to hunker down in order to win this fight.
All right, Bryn, thank you for your reporting. New York State Police are now dispelling rumors of statewide travel bans due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In a post on Twitter, troopers explained that no such restrictions are in place, saying, "We continue to receive inquiries on travel restrictions in New York State. At this time, there are no travel restrictions or travel bans on New York State roadways. Troopers do, however, encourage residents to stay home unless travel is absolutely necessary." Now, last week, New York State placed restrictions on non-essential business operations, requiring 100% of non-essential workforces to stay home and work from home. Well, hopefully everyone is having a good Tuesday, and we thank you for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear. And let's check in with the comments and see what everyone is talking about today. Hello to Lakeith. Hello to Lori. Hopefully you're doing well. Vanessa, good to see you. Good afternoon to Mike, George, TR, Amy, Susie. Hello to you. Brian, he says, thanks for the great coverage. We appreciate you for tuning in, Brian, and for trusting us with providing accurate information. Nancy, hello to you. Lori says, stay safe, everybody. Good afternoon to Tabby and Crystal as well. Ellie says people need to stay home and stop finding reasons to go out. And that is exactly what Chautauqua County's Director of Health, Christine Schuyler, had to say yesterday during the press conference to explain a little bit more into that. Over the weekend, they encourage people, and even during the week, if you are home and you say want to go outside to enjoy the nice weather, say it's a sunny day, it's warm, go outside and go for a walk. You can go to parks, but do not gather in large groups of people. If you go to a section of a park and you see that there's a large group of people, health officials say, please refrain from heading in that direction. Go in a different direction or come back to the park another time, because that is the best way that we can prevent the spread. Obviously, yes, within our households, right, within our family unit, it seems like there's really not too much that we can do, minus disinfecting surfaces. But the idea here is if you can prevent yourself from coming in contact with other people in the community, please do so. That's what they're asking us to do. Now, it doesn't mean don't talk to people, because you can still talk to them through FaceTime and phone calls and things like that. And in fact, coming up, we have a special interview in regards how to some older people in the population are being able to connect with folks, and we get a status from a local nursing home. So that's really what a lot of people are stressing at this point. And we thank you so much for asking your questions. And again, if you continue to have questions, please, please, please let us know, and we will try to get them answered the best of our ability. Well, let's check in with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter here with a look at our weather. And Dakota, it seems like it's a little gray outside at this point, a little chilly, so maybe we don't want to walk outside.
Well, you can walk outside, but you probably should need the sweater or the jacket. Hope you haven't put them away just yet. Again, here's another look coming from Mayville, the overcast skies over across the region, and that's really going to be the story today. You can see it on the satellite and radar composite. A lot of sucked in cloud cover today, but as we go through the afternoon, there will be the chance we could clear out the cloud cover a little bit, and we could have a few peaks of sun as we go through the afternoon. I think it's a small chance, but hang on with hope here. 37 was the high yesterday. Man, it was chilly yesterday. The cloud cover really helped to keep us down into the 30s. 32 was a low this morning. 71 and 2 above zero are in the record books for today. Here it is on the News Now cam again. No difference than what you saw in Mayville right there. Right now at the airport, we're at 35. This is part of the reason why we're cooler. A north wind coming in now with a weak area of high pressure that has moved in. So that northerly wind is always going to keep you a little bit cooler. And obviously with a light wind, that means the wind chill is at the air temperature at 35 degrees. So essentially through the afternoon, mostly cloudy. A few peaks of sunshine definitely possible through the late afternoon, but it's a small chance for it though. But it will be somewhat seasonable. 38 near the immediate Lake Erie waterfront to 46 well inland with a north wind averaging about 4 to 8. A small chance for a shower the next couple of days, and then the weekend turns unsettled. We'll talk about it in more detail in a few. Jay?
All right, Dakota, thank you. Coming up next, we hear from one of the area's largest nursing home facilities on how they're keeping residents safe and now looking for workers amid this outbreak. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
This is Christine Schuyler, Chautauqua County Public Health Director, with a very important message. We need you to make every effort to protect yourselves and our healthcare workers. If you absolutely don't need to go out, don't. If you have a mild cold or flu-like symptoms, with or without a fever, stay home. If your symptoms are severe, call your healthcare provider. Do not go to the emergency room or urgent care. Do not call 911 or go to the ER unless you are experiencing a life-threatening emergency. The best ways you can help prevent the spread of COVID-19 are to wash your hands often with soap and water, cover your cough, avoid close contact with others. Please stay home.
You're watching WNY News Now. your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Joining us is David Smeltzer. He's the president and CEO of Heritage Ministries, one of the area's largest nursing home facilities, to talk more about the novel coronavirus outbreak and its effect on their day-to-day operation. David, thanks so much for being here today. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Justin. It's our pleasure.
First off, let's share a little background with our viewers. Last week, Heritage took some steps to help protect its residents and employees from the COVID-19 virus. What were those?
Well, those steps are guidelines from the CDC and from the federal and state governments. And the goal really is to try to keep the virus from getting into our facilities. So the steps include limitation on all visitation into our facilities, unless it's an end-of-life situation or an extreme unique scenario. So keeping visitors out of the organization. All non-medical visitors are not permitted to come into the facility. And in addition to that, our staff are now being screened daily when they come to work for any signs or symptoms of COVID-19, for any exposure to COVID-19 in another area, or travel outside of our area to a hotbed area that they would call. And those folks would then be screened and determine whether or not they were even allowed to be in the facility. The other step that's being taken is that those staff members also have to wear masks, surgical masks, when they're interacting with our residents or in resident space to avoid spreading the disease. So if one of our staff does have it because of their activities outside the facility, they're wearing a mask to try to avoid the spread while they're in the facility.
Now, since taking that action, how have things been going at the facility under the new regulations?
Well, actually, I'm surprised at how well things have been going. In addition to the limitation of visitors, we've also had to stop having communal dining and large group activities. So all activities really are kind of what we call a doorway activity, or over the loudspeakers, a sing-along, if you will. So we can't even have group activities anymore. But the spirits of our residents seem to be pretty good, and the staff are really stepping up as you would expect in this time of crisis. So we're providing things like e-visits for family members if they choose to do that. We have, if you go out and look at our Facebook page, we've got pictures of residents with signs to their family members and loved ones saying, "I'm okay, hope you're okay as well." And so that's been a really fun and interesting thing to do. And of course, many of our facilities, Heritage Village in Gary, Heritage Green in Greenhurst, and our Orchard Grove Assisted Living facility are all single-story facilities. So those window visits you see happening at some of the facilities on the news, that's happening at our facilities as well. People visiting outside their family members' windows.
Wow, that's amazing. And if a family member did want to, say, set up something like that window visit, or maybe through an iPad with FaceTime and things like that, what's the best way for them to go about to do that?
The best way to do that is just to call the facility, the main number at the facility where their loved one currently resides, and we'll do everything we can to get that set up. The hard part really was to be able to get the technology up and running. iPads were hard to find, believe it or not. And so it took us a while to get everybody up and running, but I think we've got it moving now. Unfortunately, some people are still not aware that that is a service we're providing. So we do encourage your listeners, if they have a loved one in our facility or any other facility, probably just call the main number, and they should be able to connect you with your family member. Schedule a time to meet with them that day.
Yeah, it's amazing that you guys are doing that and trying to keep folks connected to it, because I know, at least with my grandparents, sometimes it is a little bit harder to get them integrated into technology. But certainly, I imagine, have the residents been giving good feedback, and do they like being able to use these devices to communicate?
Well, the response to that electronic communication varies considerably. Most are accepting of it. In fact, we already do some telemedicine in our facilities, so some of them are already used to it. But I think the thing that's been, I think, the most fun are those whiteboards where we ask a question and we write their answer on it, And or we tell, what would you like to communicate to your family members? And we're posting those on our Facebook page. And I of course see all of those, and I love seeing those pictures, and they're so encouraging. I'm good. Don't worry about me. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Those types of things.
Yeah, that certainly is amazing. I want to switch gears a little bit, and we talked earlier about the measures to protect the staff and protect the residents from the virus. We see that nationwide there's a shortage of this personal protective equipment and other related supplies. Is this affecting Heritage at this point?
It is affecting us, so we're trying to be very cautious about how we use the products, but should someone in our facility become infected, we would probably run out very quickly. I understand there might be some more supplies coming, but we are doing everything we can to extend the life of the masks. We have folks sewing sleeves that fit over top of our surgical masks so they can be removed and washed, and we can maybe make that mask last a little bit longer. When the masks do run out, we have folks sewing the full mask so that we can use those as well. Unfortunately, if a resident becomes infected, that's when that process steps up, and the full PPE is worn when you go into that room, and that's really where the shortage is, the N95 masks. And so the longer we can delay that potential infection, the better off we're all going to be. Thus the orders to stay at home, no visitors, and staff wearing surgical masks, because they're the ones now who would bring it into the facility. We've been locked down for almost 14 days. Once we've completed that, they would be the only ones bringing it into the facility. So if we can keep them covered up but keep the residents away from them, we should be okay.
Now, on to that point, with your staff coming from work to home, how, in addition to having them limit contact and by wearing these protective masks, which are in short supply, what other protocols are there to check them as they come in? Are temperatures being taken and things like that?
We take temperatures if it's called for, but for the most part, we have a screening tool that each employee must complete before they come to work that day. Questions such as, do you have any of the signs or symptoms? Have you been around somebody who's been exposed? Have you traveled to that, again, as I mentioned, that hotbed area? And if they answer yes to any of those questions, they may be turned away. We do have thermometers, and we are taking temperatures. I'm not sure if it's happening at every facility right now, but every facility is certainly answering the questions. Their employees are answering the questions before they come to work that day. And then on the flip side, just to keep our employees safe inside of the facility, every resident at the skilled nursing facility is being temped and evaluated every shift. So every resident is having their temperature taken every shift and being evaluated for additional signs and symptoms. If they show any signs or symptoms, they immediately go into quarantine, and we start the measures of do they have the flu? We test for that first. If not, do they have some other type of virus? A viral panel is run, and then after that, if tests are available, we will get them the test. If they're not available, they will be one of those presumptive cases, and we will start the immediate quarantine with the full PPE at that point in time.
Now, it does seem like, speaking with others within your organization, there's a great need for new workers at this point, and I know this was something that was happening long before the COVID-19 outbreak. Can you tell us about the current employment needs that Heritage needs?
Yes, Justin. As you know, we're always looking to hire qualified, compassionate caregivers. This isn't just a job; it's a ministry. It's a calling. And so we are right now at this point in time, while other folks are unfortunately having to lay off employees, we are continuing to hire. In fact, tomorrow at our Homestead Stables facility on our Homestead campus in Gary, New York, we're going to be having open interviews from 10 to noon. And that's at our Homestead Stables viewing room on our Homestead campus. We'll be practicing social distance as best as we can through that process, taking numbers and waiting out in the car or inside the large arena that we have there before doing an interview. But we're hiring temporary workers, we're hiring permanent workers. So if you're looking for work, or you just want to help make a difference in this difficult time, come on down and see us at the Homestead Stables tomorrow from 10 to noon. You can see that information on our website and our Facebook page as well.
Now, would this work be good for someone who's currently out of work because of non-essential shutdowns, or is it something that is more or less geared toward their field already?
No, it really, anybody that's out of work for a non-essential shutdown, we need folks to help pass those trays. Again, you have no communal dining, so now we're taking trays room to room, and then you have to pick them up. We have residents who we're trying to provide activities to. So you'd have opportunities to do that. Housekeepers, unit attendants that really are just responsible for getting supplies to the residents' rooms as needed. If the outbreak hits one of our facilities, it'll be all hands on deck, and everybody will need to do whatever they can to provide assistance. While they can't provide direct care unless they're already a certified aide or a licensed or a registered nurse, they can work right alongside one of those direct care partners to make sure that everything is running as smoothly as possible in the facility. Laundry, I didn't mention laundry. You get lots of laundry to be done in a situation like this. So you're out of work because your hotel is down, shut down, come on down and see us. And again, even if it's just for a temporary employment, you're welcome to do that as well. But one thing that's nice about healthcare, while it's not easy work all the time, we're not unemployed right now. Healthcare never shuts down.
Yeah, certainly. And the process to get people involved, in addition to tomorrow's event, checking out your website probably is the next best bet?
Absolutely. We have a careers section on our website, heritage1886.org. And you can go out to that website and apply online. Even if you decide to come to the open interviews tomorrow, if you already apply online, you'll be one step ahead of the game. We won't be having paper applications filled out tomorrow. So if you do come to the interviews tomorrow, you'll be asked to fill that out online anyhow. So if you want to show up tomorrow and sit through those open interviews, you can apply online today or tomorrow. We'd be happy to meet with you.
All right, David Smeltzer, the president and CEO of Heritage Ministries. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin. Always a pleasure and privilege to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get a check of our forecast now with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Hey, Dakota.
Thank you very much, Jay. Let's start off with a live look coming from the Mill Creek Mall. Now, I threw this image out yesterday from this camera. The Mill Creek Mall was dead yesterday. It was very eerie, pardon the pun, not seeing any cars there in the parking lot. Now, in terms of snowfall, we had no measurable snow at the airport, I would say Sunday night and Monday. So our snowfall for the season still at 70.3 inches. Our average for this time of the year is 92.4. So we're running about 22 inches below average snowfall. And I think we're going to end the year below average. I don't think we're going to see a lot more snow. But then again, we still have April to go here. But again, look at these temperatures over the past 7 days. We were at freezing on Saturday after we hit 64 on Friday, and we've been chilly definitely yesterday at 37. The essence of the cloud cover helped us really stay cool. So here's what's coming up here. A bit of sun this afternoon. I expect more clouds than sun, but don't be surprised if you see a peak of sunshine. Basically, the next couple of days, we'll get into a few shots for a few morning showers. The weekend is going to be complex and unsettled with potential soaking rain. So let's talk about it here with weekend weather. This is what we're going with right now, but please understand this could change as we go throughout the week. We think we'll be around 50 degrees on Saturday with widespread rain. Some of it could be soaking heavy at times. And again, it will also become windy and it will turn more scattered as we go into Saturday. Temperatures right now, we're mostly in the lower to mid 30s across most areas. 39 currently over in Erie at the airport. As we take a look at the satellite radar composite, weak area of high pressure has built in across the Niagara Peninsula, but it's weak. That means it's going to be easily moved on out by this that's down here to the south. Notice all these flash flood warnings and all these severe weather polygons. The severe weather is going to miss us, but this is going to be coming close to us, taking a track to our south. So that's why we'll have a small chance for a few rain showers. We'll show it to you here on Feature Scan. Nothing through the day. Now, tomorrow morning, we'll see a small chance of a light rain shower. And I tried to get this model going. Come on. get the hamsters going on that computer. There it is. And you can see the small chance for the light rain shower tomorrow morning. That'll taper off in the afternoon. And then Thursday morning, a small chance for a light rain shower and then afternoon clearing. Zone forecast, inland areas here. This is where we're going to end the day, likely around 40 degrees in some areas, depending on the sunshine. If we can get the sun to peek out, we might do a little better than this, but most areas should be around 40 to the upper 30s. Next 7 days of your life coming up right now, 45 degrees tomorrow, 55 on Thursday. That's ahead of the next storm system. And again, both days, morning showers, then afternoon clearing. Friday, partly sunny, 49. Then there's the weekend, still in debate. And then as we head into early next week, high pressure returns and it dries out once again. That'll do it for News Now at noon. Make sure you stay up to date with the latest news information on WNYNewsNow.com and the mobile app. We'll see you right back here at noon. For Justin Gould, everybody, see you tomorrow.